Okay. So, welcome to Team Find Your Fire's very first team call.
Woo!
And, there's like this mass amount of things that I could speak about or train about. And I debated, like, am I going to go from like the very beginning, speaking to somebody as if they're a brand spanking new coach, or am I going to, just pick random topics? And then I asked you guys kind of, and that's when it occurred to me, like, I'm putting together this first 30 training, and I know that I had to hit pause on that for a minute to get through like the birthday weekend craziness. But that is going to kind of be where we go from baby and progress and progress and progress and progress. One idea that I had, and that's when I came to you ladies and said, what do you need help with right this moment that you feel like is something that you need in order to move your business to the next step? So if I was just picking a bunch of random stuff, it would all be beneficial to you, but I want to speak to what you need right now. And wherever you're at in your business right now is going to, right now being like a theoretical time, right? In the moment, wherever you're at in your business, and what you need based on that place is going to change and evolve. So I can create 30-day training groups, and then, we can do a new coach basics, and then we can do a coach to emerald training, and then we can do an emerald to diamond, and a diamond to star diamond, or an elite training eventually one day, right? I can create those groups to build each coach from the ground up, but then there's that other piece. Like, there might be one particular thing that you guys are struggling with in the moment that you think, if I just could figure out this, then I could continue taking action. I could take the next step, or I could solve this problem that I'm running into. So I hope that the training groups, as they evolve, will complement in the weekly team calls and vice versa. And just depending on our schedules, since we're lucky enough for it to be mostly just the three of us for right this moment, we do have the luxury of saying, like, when is everybody free this week? And is that anybody free this week, or do we need to postpone until next week? And that kind of stuff. And, of course, as the team gets bigger and bigger, it'll be sort of like, okay, we need to pick one night a week, and everybody that shows up, and everybody else can watch the recording later, sort of deal. So you had mentioned that you would like help with inviting, and more specifically, when is the right time to invite? And I totally know where you're coming from, because, obviously I'm no different than anybody else. And the sort of confusion and fear around inviting never truly goes away, only because we always have that inner demon, that negative Nancy self-talk that says, oh, what if they say no? Oh, what if they think I'm icky? Or, oh, what if they think I'm just trying to sell them something, right? So the fear never goes away in that respect. But because you can develop sort of a system and practice your inviting, you start to innately get better at it in terms of timing and wording. And so first and foremost, there are multiple different kinds of invites, right? And I think something that was important for me to learn as a newer coach was, I was like, well, what constitutes an invite? Like, how do I know? Is it only when I say, hey, join my group? Or is it, I didn't know if when they said invite as one of our vital behaviors, I didn't know if that meant to my free group. Does that count? To a challenge group, to coaching? Like, what constitutes an invite and what doesn't? So first, I want to say there are multiple different types of invites. One of them being your social media posts. And so this is where, like, before I started recording, we were talking about what program you were doing. And I was starting to say that it's fantastic that you have a program that you are committing to. Now, as a challenger, obviously, lots of times I'll work with people who say, well, I'm going to commit to like a nutrition plan, but only kind of, and I'm going to commit to drinking my shake every day, but like I might miss a few days a week. And I'm going to commit to a program, but like, I might want to like run on certain days too, right? Like you and I think had this conversation, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
And as a challenger, I try to just meet people where they're at, because that's what I feel people need from me and the way that I can serve them best. As a coach, you have to be a product of the product. So
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, before you can invite anybody to anything, you have to show up and be proof to your audience that you're doing something that fits into your life that, obviously in our case is something that you can do from home, something that's getting you results. And if you don't have physical results yet, something what kind of mental results is it getting you? How is it helping you with stress? How is it helping you with anxiety? Are you in a better mood? So first and foremost, you have to be on your journey, and you can't half-ass it. Because if you were your audience and somebody was only sort of doing a program and only sort of posting about it, and like sometimes I saw them running, but then sometimes I saw them doing something at home, and then sometimes they just disappeared for 3 days, like I wouldn't be curious about what they were doing. I wouldn't have any reason to feel curious, right?
Sorry,
you're fine. And I wouldn't have any reason to believe them when they say what I am doing can work for you too, right? So most important thing, you first have to be on your journey and sharing it every day, right? So let's say you had a customer, right? And you only showed up half the time for them, right? They wouldn't trust you. They wouldn't be excited about what they were doing. They wouldn't want to get up and show up every day, right? So showing up is half the battle. And as you show up on your social media every single day, talking about what you're doing, you don't have to throw Beachbody names all over the place. Just straight up sharing a video or a picture, using your Instagram stories to sort of document the real life minute to minute stuff, then using your social media posts themselves like a flip book, like a magazine cover, right? Making sure that your pictures have good lighting, that you're putting some feeling behind your post, right? Because people don't give a shit what you're doing if they don't know why you're doing it. And they connect to your why before they connect to your what, 100%. Before they want to know what you're doing, they want to know why you're doing it. So that's why we can't half-ass our posts, because our posts serve as a subliminal invite. People start to pay attention. They start to watch your journey. And if they see you showing up consistently every single day, it starts to inspire them to maybe want to show up themselves. And they're not going to reach out to you until you've built that trust, and it takes time. So I'm talking like start today, start tomorrow with that sharing, and commit to showing up every day. And if you don't show up, if that day you missed your workout, that's okay too, because people want to see what's real, not what's perfect. So it's okay then to say, I didn't show up for myself today. This is why. I'm either giving myself grace or I'm calling myself on my excuses, right? Let other people see themselves in your story, because people think that they have to be perfect to start. They think they have to have it all figured out. Like, I can't tell you how long I did that to myself. Oh, well, I can't start X, Y, and Z because I don't know if I can commit to 7 days a week, and maybe I can only commit to 4, and why do it if I'm going to do it half-ass and blah, blah, blah. We'll start talking ourselves out of things, right? So showing up every day, and then also talking about the days that you're having a hard time showing up and struggling, that's all considered sort of, you have soft invites and hard invites, and that's sort of like your soft invite is just you're showing up every day and sharing. And that is something that you will learn to craft over time. And we will do further training specifically geared towards social media posting, how to get good lighting in your pictures, how to make your pictures eye-catching, angles, what kind of wording to use, how to connect to that emotional piece. That is a whole different training in itself. But just knowing that showing up every day is considered sort of soft inviting. And that brings me to the next sort of more hard invite, which would be a social media post that has a call to action to it, right? So meaning that you've been posting about your journey for, 2 weeks now, 3 weeks. And at the end of 1 or 2 of your posts every week, you say, if you want to join me, right? You give a call to action with instructions for how to get a hold of you. Now, I remember when I first started doing that, and I thought, nobody ever messages me. Nobody ever comments below. I only got 5 likes, right? And it took me, people would tell me, like, you can't focus on that. Trust me, they see it. Trust me, it's just like you're nudging them. You're nudging and you're nudging and you're nudging and you're nudging. And when they're ready, they will come to you, but they have to keep seeing you show up, and they have to keep seeing you nudge them in that direction. I, for a while, allowed my self-belief to be affected by how many people were reacting to those call to actions. And it took me proof in my own business to realize that the majority of time they won't respond to those. That is not the purpose of those posts. Those posts are more like, hey, I'm open for business type posts. So you're just showing people that you have something for them if and when they're ready, because otherwise all they see is, cool, she likes fitness, awesome, wish I liked it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without the call to action, they don't know that you have a way to help them if they need help. So if you start focusing your call to action posts more on that as a result, versus expecting the floodgates to open and people to start running to you asking for help, it makes you feel more validated in when you're posting those. You can see what the purpose is behind it. And again, that will help you connect more to the emotional piece, because you want, again, people to see themselves in your story. And the call to actions, whether it be for a sneak peek or for a free group or for a paid group, you're just saying, hey, I'm open for business. I'm here to help. I actually do this for a living, right? I actually help people like you. I don't just post this stuff for my own accountability only, So those call to actions are a little bit more of a hard invite, but of course your private messaging is where the true invitations take place. And we will get a little bit more in depth into that in just a moment. But I really recommend the personal development book by Gary Vaynerchuk called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. And this is what sort of what I've explained. The continually sharing about your journey is a jab. The continually sharing about how your PCS, portion control system, nutrition plan is helping you to stay on track and fuel and all that stuff, right? That's a jab. Talking about the emotional side of your journey is a jab. A call to action post is a jab. The right hook is the private invite, right? So it's a really great book that simplifies how to gear your social media posts and your conversations on social media and in real life towards that eventual right hook, which is the hard invite. So that being said, the private message invitations, and I know it feels super like anxiety producing to try to get used to sending out that invite. And like you had asked before specifically, how do I know when? And the answer to that question varies. It depends. And again, you start to build an intuition around it the more you do it. So first and foremost, I'll say, doesn't matter how nerve-wracking it feels. Doesn't matter if you know exactly the right thing to say. It doesn't matter if you accidentally invite too early, or like I used to do and still do sometimes if I'm not keeping myself in check as I word vomit, right? Tell too much too soon, overwhelm people. And I'll tell you that I can give you all the conversation examples in the world, but it won't replace your own experience in just doing it. And you do get better and better. So, listen to whatever song pumps you up before you start to do invites, like whatever it takes to get that gumption. And just know, first and foremost, I think where a lot of our fear around that personal invite comes from is not feeling like we are good enough in terms of being able to, like, we don't believe, necessarily in what we're offering because we still feel insecure in our coaching, right? We still feel like, but I'm going to invite them to this group, but I've never run a group before. And what if the group bombs? And what if nobody posts? And what if, you know what I mean? So we let all that get in our way, and it paralyzes the invite because we don't know if we can truly deliver on what we're promising. So if you can focus on becoming the person that you want to become for these people, self-belief, believing in your ability to lead them with your heart. Again, people don't care if you're a perfect coach. They just care if you show up with heart. And I know you, and I know Emily, and I know that you guys will show up with nothing less than your whole hearts, and that you truly, truly care about people, and that you will do everything in your power if somebody trusts you and says, yes, will you help me? I'll do whatever you say. Just help me. If somebody allowed you into their life in that way, you would not drop the ball on them. You would feel a sense of obligation in your heart to show up for them. So just trust in who you are in your core, and that's valuable. And that, like, if you know that you're offering a ton of value, do you then feel guilty about asking somebody to pay a little bit of money for it, especially because they're not even necessarily paying for you, they're paying for the products that are going to get them results, and they get you. That's the free value, right?
That's
And
actually one way that I've started to think about it.
you have to think that you're valuable enough, that you're worthy of saying, yes, I'm asking you to spend $160. In the grand scheme of things, I guarantee you at the end of this whole thing, you will think that you would have paid $360 for what I'm going to offer you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all can go online and research what the best ways to lose weight are. And we've likely all done it. And we've likely all tried something that was probably perfectly good in and of itself. But
Mm-hmm.
we dropped the ball. We didn't have the support. We didn't have the accountability. We didn't believe in ourselves. We didn't have somebody there cheering us on and offering a safe place, a community, right? So we fell off. It's why people pay for personal trainers, right? You could look up a workout on YouTube and then go into the gym and do it. But people feel like they need somebody to push them, somebody to show up with, because we'll show
Mm-hmm.
up for others before we'll show up for ourselves, right? That's you. That's that free value that you're offering that's worth far more than $160, right? So if people know that they're getting value, they will pay money for it, right? Especially knowing that, okay, we're not just saying, here, buy this and that's it. You get a year of Beachbody on demand, you get your shakes, you get me, you get, you know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody's going to believe in the value that you have to offer them unless you believe in it. So, first and foremost, if you can continually build up that self-worth, that self-belief, that self-value, the fear becomes a little bit less surrounding saying, hey, do you want to join me? Right? Because when I get into it with people about like how I speak and how I respond to people, they always say, gosh, it sounded so simple, right? And that's what I used to think. Like I would hear other people's, the way that they had conversations, and I would go, duh, that sounds so simple, right? Like, why didn't I think of, like, why do I keep building it up? Like I have to be a wordsmith in order to send out an invite. It's as simple as, hey, so this is my first way to say that you can invite somebody. This is probably one of the only ways I recommend cold inviting. And that is just, there are going to be people who are going to like your fitness posts. There are going to be people that are going to like all of your fitness and nutrition related posts, who are going to comment beneath them, offering you encouragement, right? Those are the people that you could reach out and say, hey, thank you so much for your support. It really means the world to me that you are showing up to support me, because it's not easy for me to share. I noticed that you like a lot of my fitness and health related posts. Are you on a health and fitness journey too? Right? Super simple. Super simple. That opens the conversation, and you feel warranted in going to that place straight off the bat because they've already shown interest. And you'll notice it's going to be the same people. But right, going back to what we were talking about before, if you're not posting regularly, you don't have that avenue, right? You don't
Mm-hmm.
know who's interested, who's watching you. So posting regularly and keeping an eye, like maybe you're starting to notice somebody always comments, write their name down. Or if you're still using Teamsy, put it in your Teamsy, right? And tag them for a more regular follow-up. So you can say, are you on a health and fitness journey too? And they might say, oh yeah, but I've been going to the gym and it's not really working and blah, blah, blah. Or they might say, oh no, but I really should be, but I find that I struggle with this, right? And then you've started that conversation. And that's all that it takes to, a little bit down the road, once you've found out, I recommend never, if you're sending out an open, sort of what we would consider a cold invite in this scenario, I would never invite somebody unless I had asked them about their goals, asked them about what they struggle with the most. Like, what are your goals? Oh, really? You want to lose 3 pant sizes? Well, when you've tried to lose 3 pant sizes in the past, what did you struggle most with? Like, what was hard for you? When they tell you their struggle, you can say, well, like, how much time do you think you have a day, or are you willing to make per day to commit to this goal that you have? Why do you want it? If you lost 3 pant sizes, what would that do for you? How would it change your life? Would you be able to do something that you can't do now? Would you feel more energetic? Would having the confidence that that created change how you showed up in your relationship or at your job, right? You want to start digging into people's whys with them, because when they come up with objections to the invite, you need to know those whys, right? Now, beyond knowing their struggles, their goals, their why, you can also ask them, and I found this, I used to be afraid to ask these kinds of questions, but I'm finding that the more direct, and I'll ask people, do I have your permission to be really frank with you for a moment? No pun intended. And they almost always say yes, because they've been following me long enough to know that I'm real and I come from a place of love. And then the more real I get with people, the more hard questions I ask, the more success I find that I have in those conversations. So if I ask a question like, all right, what are you so afraid of? What are your fears surrounding taking action to accomplish these goals? And one of the more successful questions I've had when I do get objections in terms of price, or it doesn't matter what their objection is. Their objection just means that they're afraid and or they still have unanswered questions. So if I get an objection right off the bat, and I've talked about their why, and I've talked about their goals, and I've dug deep, and I've connected with them in that way, then I can just say, hey, you told me that you wanted to lose 3 pant sizes. You told me that if you lost 3 pant sizes, your relationships would improve. You'd feel like you could run around with your kids more. You would have the confidence to go out with your friends, whereas lots of times you deny going out with them because you feel insecure. Like, if it would change your life that much to choose to lose 3 pant sizes, and you've seen me lose 3 pant sizes using this method, and you see that I'm busy as shit and I still was able to do it using these tools. And if you tried them for a month and they didn't work, but you could send them back for a full refund, what do you have to lose? And if you tried them for 30 days and they worked, and you lost the 3 pant sizes, and you could run around with your kids, and you went out, you got to shop in your closet again and feel good in your clothes, and went out with your friends, and your relationship improved. If you accomplished all those things, would it be worth it? Would it be worth $160 to you? Like, what do you have to lose, right? And that question, I remember the first time I ever heard somebody ask that question, and I thought, holy shit, that hit me in the gut, right? And it should hit you in the gut, because if we say that these things are so important to us, and then we're not willing to spend as much as we would spend on 2 pairs of jeans, then how bad do we really want it? And who are we really giving up on, right? So, that is sort of like you ask, what kind of questions should I ask before I send an invite? And when it comes to those kinds of invites where once you get into a health and fitness related discussion, that's the conversation that you have to have. Now, what about these other people who you're friending from all different, your bullet journal junkies group, or in my case, like a wildland firefighting group, or, if I'm just meeting people and You good? If I'm just meeting people in groups and it's nothing health or fitness related, right? Then what do you do? And I know that can be a hard thing to navigate. And honestly, that's when I say you're not looking at those people as prospects yet. You're looking at them as friends. And these are the people that you're going to start over time. The more and more people you talk to, you're going to start creating this funnel. And people are going to come into your funnel from all different ways. And when you invite, each person is going to vary from person to person. but everybody goes into the funnel. And before you take and the thing about it is like, for example, I'm just going to use you and me as an example. When you and I met, we met in a wildland firefighting group. You asked to interview me about a school project. That was the foundation of our friendship. At that time, I never in a million years even thought about inviting you to anything, right? We just became friends. And I asked
Mhm.
about where you were from and what you were studying in school and your family and, you know, what your plans were after school. And we just talked. And I don't even remember how long we talked before. To be honest, I don't even remember how you ended up in one of my groups because,
Um,
go ahead.
well, I had another coach
Oh, yeah.
that I started with like 6 months after I met you. And then in March, I just got to the point where I was just more drawn to you as a coach. And just, I guess the best word is your platform was just more my style.
Yeah. So when we met, whoa, I got a really weird echo all of a sudden. When we met, I wasn't thinking of you as a prospect, right? And maybe that's where the difference was made, because you started to trust me and I wasn't asking you to join my business. I wasn't asking you to I didn't even know you were doing a Beachbody program for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to, if you're going to be in this for the long haul, as you know, that's the only way to be
Mm-hmm.
successful in this, is to know that this part of it is going to take time. But the more you do it, you're building momentum and building momentum and building momentum. And as you're building momentum, you're practicing your conversations and you're practicing your invites and you're practicing how to run challenge groups, so that by the time you've built enough momentum to have a solid customer base and you've maybe got 20 or 30 people in a challenge group, by then you're naturally going to be better at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll naturally be able to train the people beneath you. And so in the meantime, we just stand on each other's shoulders, right? So if you are, struggling to have conversations, all you have to do is ask me to get in a conversation with you and your prospect, right? And through demonstration, you'll start to, and this is something that I'll do in the team page. I was thinking about this earlier, is I can start posting as I'm having conversations and getting back onto my daily routine of my business. I will start screenshotting and sharing my conversations in the group. Like if I went for the invite or if I got an objection, because one of the things I remember that was most helpful for me, back when our Team Victory and Team Victory All-Stars teams were much more of like a supportive training team. We got trainings all the time and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that was most helpful for me was to see just how other people did it, just to watch them do it. Because I started to learn from the way that they phrased their wording. I started to learn, that conversation that I had, I gave that person way too much information. This makes more sense, right? And it was only through that I was able to develop my own style, my own voice in my conversations and my invitations. So first and foremost, when you meet somebody in a group, you just start building a friendship. And some of those friendships will evolve quickly. Some will evolve more slowly. But as you're building those friendships, those people will start paying attention to your page more, right? They will
Mm-hmm.
see your health and fitness posts. The conversation may go with your intention of just being friends because you met a fellow bullet journal junkie lover, to all of a sudden they see your post and they go, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were doing like health and fitness. Oh, I've been trying to lose 30 pounds for, a year after I had my babies, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just trust that your friendship will eventually evolve and eventually you will find the right time to invite. But in the meantime, we have that FORM acronym where we talk about their family, we talk about their occupation, we talk about what they like to do for fun, we talk about, and then the message is the last part. And I used to think that you had to follow like, okay, what does your husband do? What do you do? Okay, cool. What do you like to do on the weekends? Okay, now it's time for an invite. How do I invite? And it was like, no wonder I didn't know what the hell I was going to say. And it felt awkward because I was looking at it like some machine that it was like, boom, 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 on to the next one. And it's really not like that. It is
Mm-hmm.
literally, I finally understand now what people mean when they always say that this is a relationship business and that your goal is to just get online and make as many friends as you can. And the first way that you earn their trust might be that like they need advice for, how to survive their first fire season. Maybe you see on their page that they're struggling with depression a little bit, and you just reach out and say, I just wanted to give you hugs and tell you that I'm sorry that you're going through this. I'm here if you need to talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the person that you want to be for other people. And if you show up with that intention every day, the business will build itself with just a little, as long as you can work and tweak and work and tweak and work and tweak. But you have to be willing to, at some point, like I remember when I first started, it was like, God, how long do I have to talk with somebody about their cat before I'm ready to invite? Like, where, how does that happen? And there's no formula. It's more just, this is what I think of it too. One thing that I realized is because I'm focusing on building as many friendships per day as I possibly can. And I track that. It used to be on pen and paper. Then it was in Google Sheets. Now it's on Teamsy. Because my goal is just to make as many friends and solidify as many friendships as I can by just being a good person to other people. When it comes time when I'm like, okay, I've got a group coming up, and the 2 weeks beforehand, I want to invite as many people as possible. Like I'm going to do a inviting blitz, right? If I've already built relationships with a bunch of people, tons and tons and tons and tons of people that had nothing to do with health and fitness, then when I go in and I say, hey, you know what? This might seem like it's really off the wall, but I just thought of you because you're always showing me love on my health and fitness posts. Not sure if you're interested or not, but I wanted to reach out and send a personal invitation. I have this group coming up. It's basically just, we're all going to use simple tools. I know you're a busy mom. I'm really busy too. So I really enjoy my 30-minute home workouts. We're all going to get together and do our workouts and focus on our nutrition plan. And I'm going to provide some daily motivation and some recipes. I'll help you learn how to meal plan, and we'll just kind of show up and be there for each other. If you're not interested, that's totally okay. No pressure. I just didn't want to I just wanted to make sure that I sent you a personal invitation. Either way, get back to me. And then you want to close it out with something that takes the pressure off so that because lots of times if people feel nervous, like they don't want to have to say no,
mm-hmm.
or, they're like, ooh, no, I'm not interested. Then they just won't respond. And then
Mm-hmm.
more awkwardness and you're like, oh shit, I should. And then you start second guessing yourself. If you give them an out, if you emphasize, no pressure, I really just thought of you because, you always want to tell them, I had this written down so that I could show you. There it is. So you want to reference something in their life that they recently shared about. So maybe you go to their page and you see that they just, got back from a family trip. You can start your message by saying, hey, I just saw you guys got back from Yosemite. That trip looked absolutely amazing. I just thought of you because I know you're a busy mom and you're always showing love on my fitness posts. Not sure if you have any health and fitness related goals right now, but I thought I'd reach out and tell you what I've got going on. I have this group coming up. This is what it is. No pressure whatsoever. Totally cool with it either way. Just wanted to make sure that I sent you a personal invitation. Get back to me and let me know what you think, or if you have any questions. By the way, I loved that hat you were wearing in your picture. Where'd you get it? Right? You're giving them permission to ignore the question if they're not ready for it, because they still have something else. You're talking about something else. Oh, thank you so much. The trip was so much fun. I got my hat at TJ Maxx. And then nobody's hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of how you do it with people who you've already built a relationship with, but maybe you haven't spoken to each other about health and fitness at all. You can still send an invite that isn't pushy or icky because you've focused on building that relationship with them first. Is that helpful at all in terms of like when to invite?
Yeah. I think also, I've heard, I don't even remember where I heard this, but I heard, try not to mention Beachbody. And like, for me, I guess it's kind of like, well, when do I bring that up? How do I make sure that they get to my links rather than just going to someone else or somewhere else.
So let's say that you or that they say, I do have like 30 pounds to lose, but I'm really wary. Like I've bought stuff before and I don't really want to, or, I don't really know how much does it cost, right? That's going to have the majority of that training is going to have to be in a separate training, and we can do a training about objections because there are all different ways to handle them. And at some point you have to just bless and release as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody's like, I'm kind of interested, tell me more about it. Then you say like, look, okay. And you use feel, felt, found. You want to ask, that's when you say, you know what? I'd love to give you more information. First, though, I just want to make sure that it's even the right fit for you. Like, what are your goals? You've probably seen my posts of me like working out and I've lost some weight and stuff. I have certain goals for myself, but like, what are your goals? And I often will ask people if you had no limitations, if time or money or, whatever else you fear is standing in your way, if none of those obstacles existed and you could accomplish anything you wanted to accomplish, what would you put on that goal board? Because people impose their own limits on themselves. And oftentimes you want to find out, because sometimes when they say what they want to accomplish, like if you ask me when I'm in a mental state of like, I don't know, I'm like, feel like I am not smart enough or a big enough leader, or like maybe I can't do this. When I'm in that mindset, if you ask me what my goals are, I'm going to lowball them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if you ask me if there were no obstacles in your way and you could accomplish absolutely anything, what would it be? Then I'm going to highball it. And you want people to highball their goals because it's your job to believe in them on the highball goals before they believe in themselves. And that's that free value, right? So when somebody says, I want more information, I first go, awesome. I'm so happy to give you more information. I'm kind of curious before, like, I don't want to waste your time and I want to make sure this is the right fit for you before I get into details. Like, what are your goals? What have you struggled with? I mean, I ask the same questions of all my prospects once I find out they're interested, right? And I track all of that. I track their goals. I track their struggles. Have you done anything in the past? Have you tried anything in the past that worked or didn't work? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you already know specific types of exercise that you enjoy? Do you have any injuries from the past? Right? And lots of times I'll tell them that the reason that I'm asking, and it's totally honest, the reason that I'm asking those questions is because before I can give them a price or details or specific information like that, I need to be able to make a personal recommendation based on their needs. Because this isn't about a one size fits all. It's about, I want to learn about you, what your goals are, what your struggles are, and what you need before I just start asking you to spend your hard-earned money. And I'll use that phrase. Yeah, this is a small investment, but before I ask you to spend a dime, I want to make sure that I can help you, that I understand what it is you're looking for and what you need. And people love that. They're not going to like be turned off by that. And if they are, they're probably not your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
We can't operate on a scarcity mindset. We have to operate on the belief that there are plenty of people that need our help. So one person or two people or 100 people who weren't the right fit is not a loss. They're just a better fit for somebody else or something else. And there are plenty of people who do need our help, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then once somebody has told me their goals and stuff, and I'll try to do this by email at a certain point once they express interest. But then I'll say, perfect. I've got a few ideas for you. Let me just kind of tell you how the group works. And if you're still interested, I'll send you my specific program recommendations. Right? So then I say, this is how it works. We pick out a program for you and a nutrition plan that works best. And let me write down to make sure that I send you guys I haven't used my emails in so long because the place that my business has evolved to doesn't necessarily operate the same way as it did in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have emails that I used to use that have some sample scripts for like how I explain a challenge group. Okay. Because I always say, I'll put in, like, there are certain ways that I've learned to describe Shakeology as like something that I highly recommend. And I've gone through different phases in my business where I required it and didn't require it for a challenge group. And at this point, we've talked about this. I don't require it necessarily. I just require either or. Either be like, I have people in our group right now who can't work out because of health conditions, but they're following Shakeology and the portion control system meal plan.
Mm-hmm.
I have people who love Beachbody On Demand, but maybe they're allergic to something in Shakeology, or, for whatever reason, they're not doing it. And I've learned that it makes me feel good to embrace those people wherever they're coming from. They just have to be doing one or the other.
Okay.
So there are lots of different ways, and you can play around with creating your own scripts based on examples you find or that I give you. But you basically just want to be able to send them an email that says, this is what I do. This is, I use a combination of Shakeology and Beachbody On Demand fitness programs. This is what's helped me lose X amount of pounds, X amount of inches. This is why I believe so wholeheartedly in Shakeology as a nutritional supplement, because this is what it's done for me. You don't have to go into sometimes I'll say something like, it's helped me with my energy levels. I don't crave junk food anymore, even though I used to eat a bag of candy every day. I've been able to break my fast food habit. My digestion is regular, which helps keep me feeling good when I used to struggle with constipation a lot. And it makes perfect sense because I'm giving my body 70 plus superfood ingredients that it never was getting before. So it makes sense that it's satiated, and, now my body can let go of the extra stuff it was holding on to when it wasn't getting what it needed, right? So you can keep it simple, but you want to lead more with your experience with it rather than the science behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
People can look that up on the internet. They don't care about that. They just want to know, well, how did it help you? Why is it going to be worth it for me? So I'll usually start my email or my message with something about, this is what I've used. This is why I believe in it passionately. And I've been doing it for X amount of years, and then I'll say, essentially what the requirements are. To get in the group, I absolutely 100% that at least for the first few months, you do a combination program. A program with Shakeology. I believe in it so much because that's where you're going to get the most fantastic results, but and lots of times, and in fact, this is sort of the way that it's been recommended to me, and the way that I've found the most success, because people are always going to say, nope, I've heard that stuff's too expensive. I just want the program, without being open-minded to it at all. So a lot of times, if you just say, all I do is I help people use the same tools that I've used to get the same results that I've gotten, and I provide them with a group, and you just want to tell them, I've used a program, I've used Shakeology, this is what I offer in my group. What do you think? Tell me what about the information I've given you interests you, and go ahead and ask me any of those hard questions that I know you're thinking of in your head. It's okay. I'm here to answer your questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wait for them to come back with an objection. Almost everybody's going to have a cost objection, and or are these ingredients safe for me question, and or why is this shake better than other shakes, and or do I have to do both? What if I just want to use the P90X DVD that I've had sitting on my counter forever, right? They're going to come back with some variety of one of those things. That's when you can say, I do let people in my group without both pieces. I just can't guarantee you the most fantastic results, but I'm, because I can only speak from what's worked for me. And if you want results like mine or like this person's or that person's, I can't guarantee you that you'll get those exact results with one or the other, but I'm here to meet you where you're at because I understand. I've been through phases where I didn't think I could afford my Shakeology as well. I've been through phases where, and this is where you say, I understand. I felt this way. This is that feel, felt, found piece. I felt XYZ. What I found was XYZ. That's where you share your story. So it might be, I felt that I couldn't afford Shakeology as well, and I actually canceled my subscription for X amount of time. What I found was I felt like shit. I couldn't push through my workouts. My weight loss stalled. I felt more tired, whatever it is. What I found was that by drinking Shakeology as a meal replacement, I was actually just reallocating grocery money that I was spending on something else. And now, bonus, I also don't have to buy all those vitamins and shit that weren't working for me anyways before, right? Feel, felt, found. So I go through this progression once I've invited somebody where I say, oh, awesome, you're interested. Cool. Let me just ask you about your goals, struggles, so on and so forth. Once I find that out, awesome. Let me just tell you what my challenge group is all about. And if you're still interested, I'll send you some program specific information with videos so you can see if the programs I had in mind for you, were a good fit. Or maybe you don't even want to pick out a program with them at this point yet. You can wait till they sign up to do that. But maybe you just say, let me just tell you about Beachbody On Demand because it's the absolute best value we have going on right now. And then you're not limited to one program. You can do program after program after program. Your journey never has to end, right? So maybe you're just giving them information about Beachbody On Demand. But you do that, and I don't know if you can kind of see that progression then. And if you have this funnel that we're talking about where you've been building these relationships over time and you're inviting either based on people liking and commenting on your posts a lot and doing that quote unquote cold invite. It's not technically a cold invite, but you know what I mean? And then you have this whole other funnel of people that you've been making friends, you've been building relationships with those friends. You've been, and then, when it comes time, like you're like, oh, I got to fill my group. I'm going to go invite all these people. That you can move people through lists like still forming or, whatever you want to label your next column. It might be like, good friendship now or ready to invite. Sometimes I'll just put a tag ready to invite. And then I'll put a third tab that's like invite. Like they're ready, like now invite, as opposed to like, I can invite them when I'm looking for people to invite sort of deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you have follow-ups. So once you've invited somebody, if they say no, totally okay. You might say something like, you might want to set the stage for a future invite or follow-up, because oftentimes you have to invite somebody 5-10 times before they finally say yes. So you want to get permission to just continue that conversation later. Hey, I get it. No worries at all. Thank you so much for responding. I understand if it's not the right time for you or just not the right thing right now for you, but I can always make sure to let you know about similar groups that I have coming up in the future in case it's a better fit at that time. Would you like me to go ahead and keep you on my list? By the way, I saw your picture from this morning and your hat's adorable. Where'd you get it? Right? Right? So you're kind of helping them get that guard down and just getting their permission to send them another invite maybe 3 months down the road. I've even had people say, yeah, you know what? December would be perfect. Can you tell me what you have going on in December? And then they go up on your follow-up list or your invite again list. So if you're doing a little bit of each of those things every day, the friending, the forming, the inviting, the follow-ups, then you will always have that funnel. But if you stop, this is where I found myself recently because the move got crazy. I thought I could keep up. I didn't keep up. I stopped. It's like, momentum done, like brick wall. Now I have to start building that momentum all over again. And it's so much easier to keep momentum than it is to stop and start and stop and start and stop and start. So that's why, I did hear you when you asked for an accountability tool for power hours. And I will be posting tomorrow a power hour training by one of the best in the business, Michael Folsom. And with that, I'll be posting just like a daily accountability tool for power hours. I plan to put that accountability tool up every day. But I am committing to 5 days a week of my own power hours, right? I think everybody deserves a little bit of time off. Might mean like if I'm having a great week and I'm on fire and I'm in the zone, maybe I'll still do it 7 days a week. But I'm going to say that at minimum, we all three need to be doing 5 days a week of power hours in order to build and keep momentum. Okay, so tomorrow, look for that power hour training. I think it's like 45 minutes. Do it, at your own pace, but I'm just writing down so I don't forget. Training with Michael Folsom plus accountability tool. And what's going to happen is as we together start going through the motions of our power hour every day and then posting the conversations that we're struggling with, right? You could always come to me with those, but that wouldn't benefit everybody, right? If you're struggling through a conversation, me or Emily are going to struggle through the same conversation at some point in our business. So by screenshotting it and posting it in the team page, we can help everybody learn, right? Not to mention, activity breeds activity. So if I go into the team page and you're posting all this stuff about the invites and you're asking for help and I haven't done any today, I'm like, shit, I got to leave. I got to step it up. Right. Like, right. So the more we do all of this together, post our power hour accountability, post our conversations to ask for advice, or maybe you just want to be like, finally, I rocked the shit out of this conversation and you want to share that. Great. Fantastic. We can still all learn from that. Right. And our momentum within our team will build to keep, I mean, I'll be the first to admit it's not always exciting. This isn't always glamorous, right? Like sitting behind your computer screen or being on your lunch break trying to shoot or respond to messages. It can feel overwhelming at times. It can feel like you're doing a lot of work for nothing at times. So if we are all showing up every day together and building that momentum within our team, that will radiate from the center out. Like we're like the core right now, right? And that will radiate. It'll show in our social media posts. It'll show in our own personal fitness accountability, which will show in our results, right? And results are the best motivator for people to join you. If you show a before and after picture on your page, people are like, what'd you do? I got to know, because you seem happy as shit. You're sharing all these things every time. I'm following your advice because I think you have fantastic advice. And now you just posted those results. Like whatever you've been doing got you there. I'm ready, right? So I think that this is how we start building that from the ground up. And just remember, when you start to feel discouraged, that every time you send off an invitation, every time you struggle through those uncomfortable conversations, every time you hear the word no, it's all just part of the process of becoming who you need to become to build the future that you want to build for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. We aren't who we need to be at the beginning of all this. We have to become that person through action. And practice is the only way to get better at anything. It sucks. You're going to feel like, I fucked that one up big time. I just lost a challenger. I just lost my opportunity to help that person, right? They just think I was trying to sell them something. But you have to be willing to fail in order to fail forward. And you have to be willing to create a plan and watch it completely blow up in your face so that you know how to do it better the next time in order to create something. You know how many challenge groups I have flopped? You know how many times I've lost all engagement in my challenge groups and felt like maybe I just didn't know what I was doing, right? To finally get to a place where now I feel like I've really succeeded in helping us build a community where people find value every single day, and step up for each other. That's been something I've been trying to build for a long time, but I had to I tried doing challenge groups with my team. I tried doing them by myself. I tried requiring bullshitology and a program. I tried not. So you will create haters, and lots of times there'll be people that are supposedly close to you and care about you, but you don't pay your bills with their opinions of this business, right? No, you don't help anybody else improve their life by giving a shit with what all the people who don't want to improve their life are saying, right? You can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And you're just sorting through these people as you're having these conversations and building these friendships and sending off these invites. You're sorting through everybody to get to the people who need you, who are part of your tribe, who will become your close friends. And lots of times we have to go through a lot of no's before we get the core yeses, right? If you're, like I said, if you're struggling through a conversation and you feel like you just need help with what to say next, or like, oh, this person really came at me with something and now I'm like, I kind of froze. Like, what help? Can you help me get through it? You can just send me the conversations and I can give you, in the team page, and I can give you my advice. Or you can say, you know what? I actually don't know the answer to that question because I'm still new at this, but my coach is happy to get on a 3-way chat or a 3-way call or a video call with you. And you can let me do the talking because I'm more practiced at it, which through example will help you learn how to navigate that same conversation in the future. And again, we'll just all keep learning from each other's activity, but just understand, probably my last piece of advice and one of the biggest things that really helped me wrap my head around the idea of this now being my job, to put myself out there and invite people, is to emotionally detach myself from the word no. Because we feel so emotionally attached to it because it's something that causes us fear and anxiety to do in the first place. It's outside our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So when we hear it, we immediately just want to crawl in a hole and never do it again. But you have to emotionally detach yourself from that word and understand that the word no, when they're saying no, it doesn't have anything to do with you. Even if they think it does at the time, it has to do with them. They're not ready. They don't believe in themselves. They've been scammed before by somebody who was just trying to get their money. Maybe you haven't built enough trust yet. Maybe you're still working on your wording to get it right and convey, what's coming from your heart. When you hear the word no, though, nobody dies. We've talked about this before, right? Nothing bad happens. You don't lose anything. In fact, if you look at it as gaining knowledge and experience, then you've got nothing to lose. And you should therefore try to get as many no's as you can in a day. If each time you hear the word no, it's making you better, mm-hmm. right? So we have to be emotionally detached from that if we're ever going to sort of continue being outside of our comfort zones in that space. Also, if you really want to get good at inviting, just be a sponge. Go to YouTube, look up videos from coaches like Amy Silverman or Micah Folsom or Raina Odell or any coach who you personally identify with. They don't have to be in the top 10. Search trainings for how to invite. They're everywhere. The back office, especially the new back office, has a whole section on inviting. So if that's what you're struggling most with right now, make that your daily personal development. But the key is you have to take the advice you're hearing that resonates with you and use it. We can't just overtrain ourselves and not do anything. Mm-hmm. Then that's just a waste of time, right? So if that's something that you want to develop right now, then focus all your personal development on that. And that being said, it's not just about the logistics of how do these people invite and how do they have the conversations and where do they find people to invite, but also the self-belief piece. If I was ever focusing on trying to be better at inviting, I would also dedicate part of my personal development to self-belief and that mindset.
Yeah.
Questions?
I don't think I have any questions. I have lots of notes. And lots that I need to do.
You and me both.
As far as where to go from here and inviting and all that. I mean, I do feel a little, I don't know the word, uneasy with how close it is. But at the same time, I know that I have one person, and I know that just because I may not have as many people as I want right now doesn't mean that I have to stop inviting during the challenge group.
100%.
So.
And that's one of the reasons why, you've seen me go back and forth with, do I start my challenge groups every 30 days? Do I have one that's ongoing? And I just recently today, when I was creating a post, was thinking about, hey, what if instead of saying my next challenge group, because I really like the idea right now with and this will change again in 3 months, who knows? Mm-hmm. But for right now, I'm finding a lot of joy in the way the challenge group is right now, the community aspect. And I haven't even done Anna's training on community, by the way. This has nothing to do with that. This is just the mm-hmm. feeling that I've been getting lately from our group. And the part of it that when I check in that makes me just beam with joy and love in my heart is just seeing the way that everybody is stepping up for each other and not even necessarily requiring me to to come beneath them and push them along, right? Like people are evolving. And I think that's a testament to the community more than like, did you do your workout today? Did you know what I mean? It's people are starting to believe in themselves more. And so for me, I was thinking, okay, well, instead of saying my next challenge group, what if I do like a once or twice a month open enrollment, right? Like what if my wording, because you always want to feel in your posts like you have something to invite to. I remember back in the day, I never put call to action posts up because I didn't feel like I had something to invite to. So having something to invite to is very important, but we don't always have to call it what everybody else calls it. And we don't always have to structure it the way that everybody else structures it. We have to do what feels good to us. And for me right now, that may be saying, hey, I've got this ongoing fit community and I'm accepting new enrollments right now as we prepare for the next prep week. You know, I do a prep week once a month, no matter where people are at with their programs, to make sure that everybody understands the foundation of getting results. I'm accepting new applicants right now in preparation for our prep week, right? It doesn't have to be a new group every time. I don't have to reinvent it every time, right? So you got to figure out what that looks like for you. And I did used to have that same fear, like, well, oh, what if I don't have a bunch of people by the start? Then what do I do? Like, or what if somebody wants to join and we're 2 weeks in? I don't want to tell them they have to wait 2 weeks to start, because you want to catch people when they're feeling inspired, right? So you'll find those ways to navigate that. And I've always been a firm believer in allowing people into the group mid-group, you know. And so, and honestly, if you and Emily get your group and you're like, oh, you're not feeling very inspired because you each only have one person or whatever it may be, you always have the opportunity to put them in our you until you build, you know, 4 or 5, 6 people, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Or you can roll with that group and say, we're going to, you know, I'm going to give these people. I remember Bonnie Ingle saying that the very first team call she ever had, nobody showed up to. But she did the call anyways, just as if there were 500 people on it. And she brought her A game no matter what. And eventually the people came to the call. So even if you have 1 or 2 people, showing up is everything. And people will see that in you, and you'll add more people, you know, and you can just look at it as practice, and you can tell people, the person in the group, to invite their friends, and you could run it however you want in terms of, do you want to allow people who just want to do clean week into the group, right? Because that's less of an investment. Do you want to let people in who just are doing the 30-day free trial of Beachbody On Demand, right? As a newer coach, who you let into your group will look different than as a more seasoned coach. So, because you're just focusing on adding value and showing people, helping people get results so that you have a resume. For us, our resume is the results that we help other people get. Just like it would be when you put, you know, all the previous jobs you've had on a regular job interview resume. So we have to start creating that, and that will look different for you right now in your business than it looks for me right now in my business. In a lot of ways, I'm just as new as you, but there are other ways in which, you know, I've been in it longer. So just do whatever feels right to you. And if you feel like you want to open that up to anybody who's your free customer and or is doing Beachbody On Demand only, you know, the 30-day free trial, or maybe they just want to try Shakeology for 7 days and get the clean week workouts, whatever you want that to look like for you. And just know that even when you feel like you're failing, you're succeeding because you're taking action that's going to make you better and build that momentum for you. And someday you'll have a group with, I don't know, 100 people in it. Who knows?
Hopefully.
Do you feel like I touched on the things that were kind of troubling you? Like, do you feel like you have a way to move forward now?
Yeah, I do. And I know some of what you've said, you know, I've talked with you about or seen in trainings before. And I think, you know, at this point, it really is just what you were saying, like with the invites, you know, it's never going to be easy. And so just, you know, starting from where I'm at and just, you know, applying the whole progress, not perfection aspect of, you know, being a challenger to also being a coach. So, you know, just looking at it from that aspect, I think that I have a lot that I can work with.
And get comfortable being uncomfortable, just like in your fitness journey. Because growth isn't comfortable. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Staying exactly where we are is comfortable, but our brains are like these highly evolved machines that when something makes us uncomfortable, our brains say, stop, that's uncomfortable. There must be
Mhm.
something dangerous because, you know, I heard this, you didn't hesitate when you put your shoes on this morning, right? You didn't second guess yourself when you went to get in your car to drive to work. But all of a sudden you're about to do something and you hesitated and your brain's like, uh-oh, why'd she hesitate? There must be danger. And so it tries to get you to stop doing that thing.
Mhm.
You know, you never would know how to drive in the first place had you not gotten uncomfortable behind the wheel that very first time when you were 15 or 16, right?
Mhm.
It always feels uncomfortable. I cried for the first 3 months going into work as a nurse. Every single night I cried in my car driving to work. It was very uncomfortable. Now I could do it with my eyes closed, right? So just think about it like you think of anything else. Think about your college career, right? It took you 4 years to get a degree in that, right? And like I love to think about myself, okay, wait, it took me 8 years to get a degree in college, and I pretty much already capped out my income, right? So, and I'm not happy anymore in my job, right? So
Mhm.
if it takes me, it's not going to take me 8 years, but if it took me 8 years to develop the skills that I needed to develop to have unlimited opportunity, unlimited time freedom, unlimited financial freedom, like, would that be worth all the discomfort and all the same type of growing pains that I went through when I went to college? Like, hell yeah, it would.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, just trying to think about it like that and try to think about it just as baby actions. I can't think of the big picture right now because that scares the shit out of me. But what can I do in this moment? I've got 15 minutes. What can I do? What can I focus on that will move my business forward? What is the next thing I can do that will move my business forward? And then you'll look back 6 months, a year from now and go, wow, how did I get 3 coaches? I don't even know when that happened. It's because you're not focusing on the big picture. You're just focusing on the next small step. And the part, the quote, that will move my business forward is like the most important piece of that sentence, because we can do a lot of things that feel like work that actually don't move our businesses forward, right? And that's the biggest trap in a business like this, is when you feel
Mhm.
like you're working but you're not getting anything done. So what is the next baby step I can take to move my business forward?
Okay.
Okay. I'll post that Power Hour training and the first accountability tool in the group tomorrow. And it may look like, I was just thinking about it, it may look more like one accountability post per week. And you can post below Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know,
Okay.
that way, whatever 5 days you choose, because they might be different. They might be Monday,
Right.
Friday, you, but for me, you know, and then that way I don't have to worry about trying to post that every single day on top of my other responsibilities.
Yeah. That sounds good.
And then we'll talk about next week topic for team call and when the best time is for all of us.
Sounds good. All
Have a
right.
wonderful evening.
Thank you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.